Hello, welcome back to Mark's Garden UK, where I'm just putting the finishing touches to the big pond dig. It's been a long haul this. I started digging this pond last May. I always knew it was going to be a long haul. I never intended doing it overnight. It's been one of those jobs that I've kept coming back to, chipping away at it. I've dug it all by hand using this long-handled Irish spade, as many of you will already know. And so in this short video I'm going to give you an update and explain some of the features of this pond and the things around the pond which I've incorporated into my wildlife garden. As you will know if you've already been watching my videos, to my left over there I've got some butterfly bushes, and in between those I've got a twig or a stick pile. Then to my left over here there's a log pile. Underneath the log pile is a Hibernaculum, which is essentially a big underground cavity filled with rocks and stones and half plant pots. Then that was covered in roofing felt and buried, with a couple of drain pipes inserted to allow wildlife to come in and out. Now, the spoil from this hole, this pond, has been used at the back here to create a huge mound. And I'll just push this up this ramp here. I've done this about 300 times, and then around this corner and up this next ramp as well and over. And this mound is going to be levelled a little bit, and it's going to create a massive wildflower meadow. I'm going to do the same as I did last year. I'm going to buy the seeds from Aldi when they start selling them. Such a success story with those seeds last year that I don't see any reason to change my suppliers. Aldi's were great seeds. Now, along the edge of this mound were these massive boulders. I've excavated them all. I've got about 7 or 8 very large ones. Those are going to be positioned on this ledge here around the back side of the pond. You see, the thing is, even though it looks level, there's a slight slope. So I've had to use pegs here to get a level, and I've put a line of those pegs all the way around here so that I know that that ledge is the same level all the way around. And on that ledge I will put those boulders, the big ones at the back where the slope is highest, and they're coming smaller and smaller all the way around here, so that the liner will go up behind them. Because one of the things I don't want is to be able to see any of the liner. So the liner will be completely hidden by boulders. Now here at the front, where the plank is, there's a gradual slope coming up off out of the pond. And there's another ledge here, a slightly deeper ledge, which comes up and forms kind of a gradual integration into that slope. And at the top of that slope there'll be a beach area. And that beach will emerge out of the water. And that beach is going to be covered in lots of big boulders which a neighbour gave to me, so they will cover this area, so the pond line will be completely hidden. And it's important with a wildlife pond to have a gradual slope area that comes out of the water, just in case any mammals like hedgehogs or rabbits or mice fall into it, they can come in and out. And also frogs and toads and newts that might want to use the water as a breeding area can get in and out through there as well. In the middle here, it's about 3 foot deep. Again, you want several different levels of depth because all kinds of different wildlife and invertebrates and pond creatures need different types of depth. So by having a shallow ledge and a slightly deeper ledge and a very deep bit, you allow for lots of different varieties of wildlife. Now the deep bit here is important because in the winter when it freezes, it won't freeze down deep there. So wildlife can kind of escape and retire to the deep bit where it's not frozen. Also, some pond plants like water lilies like a deep bit, so I'll probably have some big barrels with water lilies in, and they'll come up and fill half the water surface. And you do want to fill half or more of the water's surface, cover it with vegetation, because that stops light from penetrating, because light penetrating into the water can cause green algae. So by covering it with water lilies and other pond plants, it will stop that light from penetrating. And also by having pond plants, of course, you moderate the oxygen levels in the water. Now I need next to buy the pond line, so I'm going to go ahead and buy that, probably off the internet, and that pond line has to be the diameter of the pond plus twice the depth, because it has to go down to the depth, all the way across and then up again. And this is 6 meters in diameter, so I'm working on 6 plus 1.5 plus 1.5, so that's a 9 meter square piece of pond line. What I'd like to do also is find a load of old woolen carpets, so I'm going to ask my neighbours in the village if anyone's got any leftover bits of carpets in the garage. I want wool because I want biodegradable, and that will go underneath. If I can't find enough carpet to cover the bottom of this hole, and I'll have to buy some of that textile stuff that you buy to put underneath your pond line. And the reason for that is to stop sharp objects like stones or twigs or roots coming through and penetrating your pond line, because the last thing you want to do when you fill your pond with water is to spring a leak and see all your water drain away. Now, talking of water, I've come up with an innovative solution to fill in this pond. I'm not on a water meter, so I could just as easily use a hose pipe and fill it using tap water. So I'm going to take a slightly more greener environmental approach with this pond. I've got a garage nearby with quite a large roof on it, so I'm going to divert one of the downspouts from the garage across the lawn here in a channel. I'm going to use bricks to create a kind of a canal. I've seen these in places like Madeira, they call them lavadas. So I'm going to create my own little lavada and divert water off the garage roof down into this pond. So hopefully when we get into the rainy season, which is March and April in the UK, this pond will fill up naturally with rainwater, a much more environmentally friendly approach than using tap water or water from the outside tap and a hose pipe. And this, what you see me doing now, is what I've been doing periodically over the course of the summer and autumn and winter, and that's how I've managed to dig this pond by hand using my long handled Irish spade. As I've already said, it's been a long haul, but I've enjoyed doing it. And actually, by doing it by hand, I'm just dragging the soil across a bit here using the barrow. By doing it by hand, I feel as if I've got a bit more of a relationship with the project than had I used a mini digger. My next door neighbour's got a mini digger, and he very kindly offered me to borrow it, or even said he'd come and help me dig the pond, but I'd already made the commitments at that point to dig it by hand. And so that is what I have done. So hopefully, if I can get the pond liner in the next couple of weeks, and then we get some nice rain, within a month or so, this rather large wildlife pond, I'm calling it an extra large wildlife pond because it's so much bigger than all the wildlife ponds I've dug in the past, will be full, and then I'll be able to start putting pond plants in. So the next video I do about this pond will be installing the liner and then carefully placing all the boulders around the edge to conceal the liner and creating that little mini lavada or canal to fill it using water off the garage roof. So if you want to see that, obviously subscribe and hit the notifications bell. And then the video after that will be when the real pleasure starts, because I'll be starting to fill it with pond plants and watching it mature. And then as the pond matures, the wildlife, I hope, will move in. And I know in this area we do have frogs and toads and newts because I've seen them. I've actually seen several newts in my garden. And I think, if I've identified them correctly, I've got both smooth newts, palmate newts and great crested newts. And great crested newts is the rare one. It's the protected one. Of course, newts, frogs and amphibians generally only go into the water when it's breeding season. They don't generally spend time in the water. They like to be near the water or nearby, but they don't tend to spend their lives in the water. They just go in the water to breed. So it's March, April, May time when you'll see them in the water doing that. Newts do a kind of a strange, characteristic breeding or courting dance, which you see. But for this year, I'm not hopeful. I don't think I'll see any newts in here this year. I think I've left it a little bit late to get the water in. Anyway, there we go. A little update on my wildlife pond. It's kept me active, that's for certain. I'm going to have to rake this surface here to get rid of most of the big stones. And happily, I've found quite a nice selection of small round boulders which I've put on my pilot, and they will go back into this area. And there we go. Very soon, and I know I've kept you waiting on this, and thanks for your patience, very soon we will have a wildlife pond to enjoy. And I can see this from the diagonal opposite corner of my cottage. Is in the corner of the garden. So from my kitchen window back there, I can look down and see the surface of the wildlife pond, water surface. And I intend creating a little avenue of crab apples coming down that path. Crab apples are great for nature because they produce blossom in the springtime for the insects and nectar, but they also produce a nice crop of small round apples for the winter, which is great for birds. It's also great for rodents if some of those little fruits fall on the floor. Anyway, that's all for now. That's my little update on my wildlife pond. I do feel as if spring is just around the corner now. In fact, spring has actually started. It started in the week, 1st of March, but we're not quite there in terms of the garden. I'm still waiting for things to start growing. Lots of birds, one's just flown past, starting to emerge, bird song everywhere. And hopefully, generally the light will come to us and our mood will start to improve and get on with all the other projects in the garden. So this year in my garden, I intend finishing this pond. Also intend creating some raised beds for vegetables. And also in another corner of the garden, I'm going to create quite a contemporary garden with a long rill. But I've been given strict instructions that I must finish this project before I start another one. Anyway, that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed this update, and I'll see you soon for some more gardening adventures. Bye for now. The long-handled Irish spade, which I've used so effectively in this dig, is available as a product on my Amazon affiliate links. I really would encourage you to at least look at it, if not buy one. It's been a wonderful thing. It's so much easier than a normal spade. You get so much more leverage with this long handle than you would normally with a flat spade. And also because it's got this pointy blade, it's much easier to dig into the earth. And then you use the long handle as a lever and you get down and you lift. It's a brilliant tool. It's probably one of the most useful tools I've ever bought. I really enjoy using it, you know. There's something about it. It does remind me sometimes of some of those films you see when they've got prisoners digging out in the desert in the hot sun. But anyway, I digress. The long-handled Irish spade. If you do go ahead and buy one of those through my Amazon affiliate link, of course, I will earn a commission, full disclosure. I've got to tell you that. It's one of the rules on YouTube. It's not necessarily a paid promotion as such, but in all fairness and in the interest of transparency and disclosure, yes, I do get paid a commission if you buy a product through one of my Amazon links. And up it goes. A full body workout, this, quite holistic. I'm going to start doing things like this. Really do need to do a warm up first. Back down again for another load.